Hello and welcome to another episode of Hopelessly Casual. We're your hosts as always. I'm Christian and with me as always is...
Freya. Hello guys, how are you doing today?
Right, so today we're talking we're talking about a bit of a topic, I'd say. We're talking about the trope of the chosen one.
The chosen one.
Love to hate it.
The deep sigh, oh my god.
Like seriously, I think it's something that, I found quite appealing, or at least it didn't bother me all that much when I was little. Mm-hmm. But the sheer idea these days of hearing about a prophecy, or, someone's like, mostly he's the one. He's the chosen one. It's like,
the one.
It makes me roll my eyes so hard.
Yeah, it comes across as very unimaginative these days just because it's been done to death, isn't it?
It's been done to death, absolutely. I mean, I don't know, in the end, I suppose, in every form of media, you always have an acting person, the protagonist, so to speak, that sort of normally does things, especially on a hero's journey, which are not things a normal person would do, therefore they become something of a standout figure.
Yeah.
Call them a chosen one, but there's so many ways of doing these things, and these days the moment I hear about a literal chosen one, a prophecy or something like this, like the sentence "your coming was foretold," for fuck's sake.
Show me one big franchise that doesn't use this trope.
And I mean, obviously, it's been around for ages, especially in things like fantasy, science fiction. Mm-hmm. And it can be done quite well. It can be, what would you call it? It can be very self-conscious. Like, for example, in the Dune franchise with Paul Atreides being the chosen one. It can take...
Wasn't that a meme that went round? The guy, the prophecy guy who's like standing in the desert with like his weird headpiece thingy. He's like staring off in the distance and he's muttering something about the prophecy foretold this or something like that. Like,
you haven't watched or read Dune, haven't you?
I have seen the original film from the 80s.
The 84,
I think it was.
David Lynch one.
Yes. But
the one not even David Lynch wants to talk about.
Correct.
But we have Prime Sting. As
really
Fade Rother.
I also barely remember the film, but let's not talk about it.
Wearing what's basically a Speedo with wings.
If you can pull it off, you can pull it off. And if no one to better pull that off than Sting.
At the time, absolutely. And
call the police.
Fun. Oh my God. Okay, I'm quitting right now. Fun fact about this, by the way. The original vision of the director was for Sting to wear nothing.
I wouldn't have minded that.
Not at all.
No one would have.
The studio wouldn't have it. But I would have loved it. Can you imagine just Sting, 1984, just in full nudity.
Commando,
they're like, all right, Paul, I'm here to fight you. I can. Are you?
You clearly are. Why is this arousing you?
And then he starts humming. Every step you take, every move you make. It's like, mate, stop. And he had this crooked smile in this role.
Then it's like, mate, it's a stalker song. You shouldn't have a boner while singing this.
No one would have bothered with the plot of Dune when at the beginning of, when the movie opens, you have Princess Irulan give some exposition over a field of stars. And if she just said, know that it is the year 10,000, and all that. Oh, and by the way, stick around. We've got full frontal nude Sting.
You know what that's giving? That's giving Ryan Reynolds energy. That is giving Ryan Reynolds Deadpool stupid parody of the franchise energy. And I would pay money to see it.
The film would have also done so much better. If there was a disclaimer in the beginning, if they put it on the poster, Dune, not at all like the book, but we've got Nude Sting. And the name in and of itself, Nude Sting.
Nude
Wonderful.
Sting. Just don't call it Dune, just be like Nude Sting.
Exactly, it's like Sting, but naked. Come see it. Everybody would be like, yeah, this is the greatest movie of all time.
I'm watching a porn. No, very elaborate one. Very elaborate. The story, you wouldn't believe it.
Yeah, you everybody was a bit like, well, we've just seen the Star Wars trilogy. This is nearly as impressive. No one would have minded that because everybody was waiting for full nude Sting, and everybody would have been like, wow, the production value surrounding nude Sting are incredible.
No one would have ever spoken about a Skywalker ever again.
No.
If Sting would have pulled naked.
Can you imagine? You have this fight
It's
scene.
like, Luke, where's your dick?
Right. You've got Kyle MacLachlan as Paul Atreides, in his still suit fighting, and you've got nude Sting flopping around.
And then the sandworms become a whole different metaphorical element there.
Oh, wonderful! You just ruined the franchise for me.
Oh, I ruined the franchise now, did I?
Well,
now it's ruined, is it?
Naked Sting only makes it better. That's obvious.
Well, no, that's a question of what are the sandworms? Is it circumcised or not?
For fuck's sake! That's the sandworm's own decision. Fucking hell.
This may be the first episode where the explicit sign actually makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely, because we're talking about Sting's junk.
Yeah, but then,
we might have to rename the episode. I think we're already like 5 minutes in and it was all about nude Sting.
I mean,
I
the
can't stop saying it.
One.
Nude Sting.
Nude Sting. It's fun to say. Nude Sting.
Like, seriously, I might be the chosen one, but you're the chosen one.
I was going to say, chosen one? Chosen one.
Right?
Right.
But, okay.
Okay, but to get back on topic.
Like, seriously. I mean, in terms of, popular chosen ones, I think the most popular we have Anakin, Star Wars. Mm-hmm. We've got Harry Potter.
That's the big one for me, for sure.
Harry Potter. We've got, I just had it a second ago, Neo as the one.
Yeah, I mean, the one, literally.
It's in the name, just it's an anagram, fucking hell, from The Matrix. And so all of these are great examples for different reasons. Like, I mean, it's very, very interesting, like if we start with Star Wars for a moment, because this is where I'm the most versed in.
You weren't supposed to join them. Yeah.
Exactly. And this is the interesting thing, because George Lucas made it abundantly clear that not Luke Skywalker is the chosen one, but Anakin is.
Yeah.
Which, of course, makes it so interesting because he's the chosen one to bring balance to the Force.
Which, I mean, in the end...
Exactly.
Through different pathways.
And this is also very interesting because you hear about the prophecy for the first time in Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. You speak of the chosen one who will bring balance to the Force. Meaning we have a galaxy full of Jedi. Mm-hmm. And then basically eradicating them, in a way you could see as bringing balance to the Force. Like most of them, not all of them, which is of course a dark twist of things.
Just a little bit.
But then, okay, then you've got...
Mass murder is the thing that the chosen one should do. Okay.
Well, he killed younglings, which...
That makes it okay.
It's not what I'm trying to say. But, it's... I don't know, when I was in cinemas in 1999 watching Episode 1, you've got Jake Lloyd playing young Anakin Skywalker of, I think, 9 years old. Mm-hmm. Right, so for the first time you hear about the prophecy.
Yeah.
So basically you've got his mother, Shmi Skywalker. Mm-hmm. Qui-Gon Jinn, the Jedi Master, asks her about his father. Mm-hmm. There was none. She was pregnant and she gave birth to him.
Okay, Jesus, calm down.
Pretty much. So it's not very original in the way it's doing things. I think in that way, you can already roll your eyes at this. At least I would, from today's perspective. I grew up with it, so at a certain point,
I was a soft spot for it.
No, exactly. I just accepted it because you're younger. Fair enough. But I mean, it's also so tropey when it's like you speak of the prophecy of the one who will bring balance to the Force. I think what saves it for me is the dark implication of it, that basically by eradicating the Jedi and then first, bringing about a Sith rule, and then later through his son, the Sith rule is broken, and there's basically no Jedi order left, no Sith order left, meaning that maybe the galaxy doesn't need
either.
Exactly, an organized religion of Force users on either side. Later, of course, you've got the sequels. I'm not going to talk about them today, but
today, that's an episode in of its own. Marcus Rand, Star Wars.
I didn't say that, but this is one. one that personally works for me because, you know, like the setup for it is absolutely cliche. It's not done very well, especially, you know, like when at the same time in Star Wars Episode 1 you bring this scientific sort of explanation of the Force with the midichlorians. You know, like you have a certain midichlorian count in your blood, meaning you're more attuned to the Force
than others.
Or not.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think recently through the animated show, The Bad Batch, they also put that a bit into relation, because, you know, like just because you have a high midichlorian count doesn't automatically mean you can use the Force. Because the moment I think you bring in a scientific reason, this whole mysticism thingy takes itself out a bit. They tried to revamp that a bit, I know, but there's like, we have a prophecy, yeah, but you also basically have a science, and science for me is always very opposed to prophecy.
Can I just quickly interject there?
Sure.
The Bad Batch, ever since that has been advertised on Disney Plus, on any kind of like poster anywhere, every single time, without fail, I will read The Bad Bitch. Every single time.
I watch a Star Wars show called The Bad Bitch.
The Bad Bitch.
Just going around, I don't know, it's like Padme kicking all sorts of ass.
I got so confused the first time because for some reason my brain, it saw the A of batch, but it translated it into a star. Like it was just censoring the I of bitch. And I was like, that Disney took an interesting executive direction there with that new one. I know I'm not into the matter that much, but
I did enjoy very much The Bad Batch. I thought it was done very well, but I would have applauded Disney just for having the sheer balls of not playing it safe and saying,
bitch.
Disney presents Star Wars, The Bad Bitch. And it's just like, okay. And it's just F-bombs left, right, and center. And it's so adult themed.
Deadpool only wishes. I'm
probably.
so actually excited for the new one to come out. I feel like we should watch Deadpool together in cinema and then do a review episode straight after.
Can do.
I think that would be a fun one.
Absolutely.
Anyway, yeah. But, yes, like you said, Chosen One, Star Wars, big franchise. Harry Potter for me is the one that I have to immediately think of when we talk The Chosen One. Also because that is the franchise where I actually became familiar with the term in of itself. Because Harry Potter is always referred to as the Chosen One. I mean, in the Half-Blood Prince, in the movie, they even make fun of it. When Hermione in the library goes up to Harry and she's like, careful, Romilda Vane, there's rumors that she might try to slip you a love potion so that you will say yes to her asking you to the jewel ball, or not Slughorn's party, something like that, doesn't matter. And then Harry's like, and Hermione's like, stop! She's obviously only into you because you are the chosen one, or she thinks that you are. And then he goes like, well, but I am the chosen one. And she whacks him across the head as the only appropriate response that you can have in that moment.
In defense of Harry Potter, something I rarely ever do, if you're suffering every school year of your life for being the chosen one, and the people around you, mind you, because it's a very safe environment they created.
Oh yeah, Dumbledore. Hogwarts is the safest place any child could ever be in.
Exactly.
Never mind the Weeping Willow, the dog, the centaurs that are not even a part in the film. Sorry, yeah.
Might as well get something out of it. I know this is very toxic right now, but you know, like, just like, make a Tinder profile, Harry Potter, the chosen one. That's all it says in your bio.
But him getting the younger sister of his best friend is not enough.
And this is something that always bugged me very much with the Harry Potter series.
Don't say that you wanted Hermione and Harry to get together.
No, not at all, not at all. But it was very formulaic. Each and every one of the three major characters first got a sort of training boyfriend-girlfriend.
Yeah.
So they didn't have this whole thing of like, I had a partner, just one partner for all my life.
They all had two, that's fair. Exactly. Oh, like one before they got with the actual
exactly.
one. Yeah.
I think for Harry it was Cho, then it was
Cho Chang,
Ginny.
the least racist name in the whole world, yeah.
Yeah.
For Hermione,
and then it's like, it wasn't in the book after they kissed for the very first time. So how was it? Wet. Yeah, I'm thinking well, this has become interesting.
Yes, and then there's the immediate switch where they're sitting in the common room and Ron goes like, you said what?
It's like seriously, because
Hermione says that, yeah.
She was crying a lot. It's like, okay, this is not making it better.
And then she says something beautifully like, you have an emotional range that would fit onto a teaspoon or something like that.
Something like that.
Savage line. But yeah, Harry has Cho Chang, Hermione has Victor Crumb, and Ron has Lavender Brown. Exactly.
Which is a beautiful, beautiful scene after he breaks up with her and they're sitting in the dining hall and she's like, I think she's
cutting food, but she isn't.
Yeah, but she's got a lot of pressure built up. And I'm thinking like, this is wonderful.
This is peak teenage years to be. But what I always appreciated about Harry Potter implicating the trope of the chosen one, and I don't know, I mean, I will refrain from saying anything positive about J.K. Rowling as a person. However, the construction of the Harry Potter books, and I will exclusively refer to the books here because I think they are miles better than the films, worked out quite well in her favor. I am not aware how much of the story she actually had planned out in her head as she got to writing, but it all came together quite beautifully. I mean, Harry Potter in of itself is a quite nice, concise story that does come round full circle, and I will never, ever, ever forgive David Yates, I believe the director is, for changing the final fight in Hogwarts between Harry and Dumbledore.
Fuck you, man!
Between Harry and Voldemort, how they did it in the films, because it was perfect in the books, and they fucked it in the films. But I will not go into that too much right now, because then we have a 3-hour rant here. But what I quite enjoy about the Chosen One trope in Harry Potter is that it builds. So you obviously Harry is special, the scar and everything. He's also special in that regard. I'll give you that. He knows one spell. That's it. Somehow he gets his diploma.
Expelliarmus. Isn't that one of his teachers saying like, Harry, stop using Expelliarmus? Your enemies sort of associate that spell with you.
Yeah. That is the plot point.
This is like
he gets told not. Yeah.
Like honestly, running around, everybody's trying to Expelliarmus you, Expelliarmus you.
It's the beginning of the 7th book, I believe, where
stop disarming people, and I think because
they're like it's a telltale because they've like these 12 people, 6 of which are changing into Harry Potter with Polyjuice potion, and like others are like his guards, and then they're like, we're gonna confuse the Death Eaters. Harry, do not use Expelliarmus. They will know it's you. Do not use that spell. It is a plot point. But
I mean, but didn't they also around about that time, when you defeat someone, their wand becomes yours or something like this?
No, that sort of. So that is the Elder One specifically, because the thing about the Deathly Hallows, the 3 things that Death created for the 3 brothers, that basically Death was like
beautiful story.
Things. Beautiful story. And the Elder Wand is what the oldest brother asked for because he was power hungry. So
and he gets murdered and the wand gets taken away from him.
Exactly, because the Elder Wand is the most powerful wand in the world, and obviously it thus creates longing in people, and people want to be powerful. And the Elder Wand works that way, that if you defeat its previous owner, the wand becomes yours. It is never specified necessarily that wands in of itself work that way, because Harry Potter has the whole thing about like the wand chooses the wizard.
Yeah, but don't they use, at least throughout, and I don't remember the books all that well, but don't they use several different wands throughout the end of the series?
They do, but they don't work as well.
Okay.
So the thing is that in book 2, Chamber of Secrets, Ron breaks his wand. The Whomping Willow breaks his wand. And then he tries to like fix it, in the film he tapes it together with Scotch tape. And it doesn't work quite well, but it's still his wand. It sort of works, but not really, it's broken. He uses a different wand, it's not as powerful. It's sort of like, you know in Pokemon, when you have not the amount of badges that you need for the level of the Pokemon you catch, and it sometimes doesn't listen to you because a certain badge qualifies you to control Pokemon up to level 25, 35, whatever. And
that makes, like, in universe, that makes so much sense. You catch the fucking things, like, all right, let me see your badges. Yeah. mate, you don't have the flower badge. Fuck you, not listening to you, gonna bite your dick off.
It is exactly that. And wands in Harry Potter low-key work the same. In that, like, the wand chooses the wizard, you have your wand. You can choose, like, you can be chosen by another one, because Ron gets a new wand, but he needs to go through the whole process where, like, another one chooses him. But the Elder Wand is a specific wand, and it was, like, it didn't choose the brother. Death created it for the brother, with the rule that whoever defeats the owner of the Elder Wand will be the new owner of the Elder Wand, because it can't choose the wizard, because it's not a natural wand, sort of. And then, yes, it continues on, because following down the trajectory of it, eventually, I believe it was Grindelwald, Dumbledore's nemesis / lover, used to be... Yeah. Oh, Dumbledore gay.
I didn't know that.
Dumbledore's so gay. I mean, that is low-key, people are like, J.K. Rowling only did that later to be woke, in quotation marks, but it is already heavily implied in the last 2 books. I think even a theme after Dumbledore's death, because there's 2 whole chapters in the Deathly Hallows where it's just basically Rita Skeeter's like biopic of Dumbledore, and then a friend, Phileas Doge biopic of Dumbledore, like as a post-mortem article, and was already talked about that. Fair. And and Dumbledore rose to fame and got his Order of Merlin. My God, I'm such a nerd.
I just realised I need to reread those books. I just read them once.
I've read them. The last book I've read 7 times. He defeats Grindelwald, who he actually was friends with before, lovers, young lovers, all that kind of stuff. And he gets, if I'm not mixing things up right now, he gets the Elder Wand through that. So Dumbledore is actually, for the majority of his life, the bearer of the Elder Wand, something that Voldemort was looking for a very long time, because Voldemort, of course, was familiar with the Deathly Hallows. And then there's the whole ploy at the end, which is why I will never forget, I'm still getting there now, I will never forgive the end of the 7th film, because that's where it all comes around full circle. In the book, Dumbledore dies at the end of the Half-Blood Prince. Spoilers, I suppose. Yes. I mean, that was the biggest spoiler ever, except for that Freya is Luke Skywalker's father. So, like...
Oh my God, what are you doing? Those things have been out for over several decades now. People are going to be so mad.
So, Snape kills Dumbledore, right? At
the behest of...
On the Astronomy Tower. However, who was supposed to kill Dumbledore was Draco Malfoy, who doesn't manage to do it, because, bless his heart, he's like, which book is he? He's 16 at the time.
He's a little bitch.
It's okay that you're not capable of murder at 16. However, what Malfoy does prior to Snape and the other Death Eaters... He disarms him.
So it was never Snape's to begin with.
Because disarming counts as defeating. So Draco Malfoy, then, for the longest time, is the owner of the Elder Wand, which nobody knows, though, because Voldemort's plan was to get someone to defeat Dumbledore, and then to kill the person who defeated Dumbledore.
Which he does with Snape.
He would be the owner of the Elder Wand, which he does with Snape, and then him and Harry are facing off in the Great Hall. All the Death Eaters and Aurors, Dumbledore's army, teachers, friends, everybody stopped fighting at this point.
And in the movie, they're out in the courtyard all by themselves, and no one sees the death of Voldemort.
They are not even fighting properly. They have this weird CGI apparating white-black smoke thingy. Doesn't matter.
You can't see it right now, but she's giving me double fingers, and I
him,
haven't even done
just
anything.
The world, but like, so Harry and Voldemort are standing in the ruins of the Great Hall. They are circling each other. Harry, at this point, has come back from the dead because Voldemort has killed him. But he didn't kill Harry. He killed the Horcrux. That was Harry by accident inside of him. Harry comes back. It makes sense in world. Don't you shake your head at me.
Gotta love good foreplay.
And then they are back in the Great Hall. Fred has died at this point. Molly Weasley has screamed her famous "Not my daughter, you bitch!" at Bellatrix Lestrange. It's all.
And we have another orphan, the son of Lupin and Tonks.
There you go, very good. Yes, we do. But they're all standing there. It's the great climax. Harry makes a point out of not calling Voldemort anymore. He calls him Tom. He calls him Tom the entire time because they are like it's the fucking coming all together, the whole relationship. He's like, Tom, I've seen what you're gonna become. I'm forgiving you. I'm trying to help you. We can still make this work somehow. He does the thing that his mother did for him. He's like, love can forgive this. I'm trying to forgive you here. And Voldemort is like, fuck you, fuck everything. I can't. And then Harry's like, well, you know that wand that you have in your hand, right?
It's not yours.
That wand that you think that obeys you. Do you ever wonder why you didn't actually kill me? Do you ever wonder why it doesn't quite obey? Because I know it doesn't quite obey you. Because Snape wasn't the owner. Malfoy was. And you know what I did 3 weeks ago in Malfoy Manor? I used Expelliarmus and I disarmed him. So Harry is the actual owner of the Elder Wand. And that is the biggest revelation at the end of the book that there is. And then Voldemort snaps and he tries to Avada Kedavra, and Harry again uses Expelliarmus because what else? He doesn't know any other spells other than Expecto Patronum, and Voldemort is not
he's
a
a
Dementor.
pacifist.
Yeah, sure. I think you just can't read. I don't think he ever bothered learning any other spells.
Like seriously, he's the chosen one. He's not a particularly good student,
He
is
knows
he?
3 spells. He knows Expecto Patronum, he knows Expelliarmus, and Stupor.
He also knows Lumos.
That's true, but
Because
barely. He practices that in 3rd.
Exactly.
Lumus Maximus, that one. Yes, but and then obviously they have the whole thing, and Harry defeats. Basically, Voldemort's death curse gets reflected back at him, and Voldemort kills himself, sort of. So there's no blood on Harry's hands. And I will never forgive the films for robbing us of that scene, because Harry Potter, like the book series, has one message. And that is, love will conquer all. And we're not talking about stupid romantic love. We're talking about the kind of all-encompassing love that you have for the people around you that mean something to you. Friends, family, chosen family, the world, life. The thing that Voldemort is incapable of feeling.
And that was our episode on Hopelessly Esoteric. Join us next time. We're getting back to the chosen one trope, but I think we got you going there for a second, because I was thinking of making a joke like, what is it you didn't like about the climax of the 8th film? But you got there yourself, so great. So
Voldemort was conceived under influence of a love potion, and that's why he's incapable of feeling love. Okay, I'm done now.
Is that actually true?
That is true. It's not part of the films. Voldemort's whole flashback is not in the films, but we get Tom Riddle's whole backstory, because we get the entire backstory of his mother. His mother was, I think she was a squib.
Oh God, I need to reread those books.
She comes from this super pure blood, huge family, the Riddles, and she falls in love with this muggle. The shame. Oh my God, she can never. She gets locked up, she gets mistreated, she gets physically abused, is implied, in the home in Riddle Manor, I think it's called, which is where the beginning of the 4th film starts, where the gardener is killed. And
like seriously, the guy didn't do anything.
And then she is pining after this random muggle dude who doesn't even know she exists, because she's kept under, she's kept from society, she's not allowed to go out, she's locked up in the house, so she brews a love potion and gives it to him, and he falls in love with her, and they have sex, and she gets pregnant whilst he is under the influence of a love potion. So it's unnatural. And that child is Tom Riddle.
Harry Potter, still as wholesome as I remember it. I know that I remember in the later, well, basically starting with book 4, that J.K. Rowling became very bloodthirsty. I thought the death of both Lupin and Tonks was very unnecessary. But there again, well, I mean, like, before I get off topic, but I mean,
I had a point with Harry Potter. I will get back to it.
Yeah.
But yeah. The building of it, because it's not until book 5 that the prophecy actually becomes a thing. So up until then, we just
Order
know...
of the Phoenix, right?
Yes. Up until then, we just know Harry has the scar on his head, and somehow he survived. Cool.
And if I may, there's 2 prophecies, isn't there? One that was done before his birth, and the other one Trelawney has with him after the class or something like this.
Yes, even though the second one Trelawney has after class isn't that important.
No,
That
no,
is
but still,
mainly-
it's one of her 2 real prophecies.
You would, of course, remember that because it involves Gary Oldman, so yes.
Not only that, it's Emma Thompson as Trelawney, isn't
Yeah,
it?
she is, yeah.
Fucking love Emma Thompson.
But, so the clue about the prophecy is that it was a self-fulfilling one for Voldemort. Because the prophecy in of itself was ambiguous. Because it was referring to 2 people. Harry James Potter or Neville Longbottom.
Oh, right, wasn't there? Oh, God.
And the thing is that Voldemort created his own mortal enemy in Harry by going after him as a child.
I could have gone after the Longbottom. He did go after the Longbottom.
He did go after the Longbottom, but
not
he
personally.
didn't go himself. Bellatrix Lestrange, played by Helena Bonham Carter, fantastic. She was his right-hand woman, basically. She was adoring Voldemort, high-key in love with him. Weird context there with the stage play that's out now, doesn't matter. She tortured the Longbottoms.
Yeah, they're still alive.
They are
Exactly.
alive. They are living in St. Mungo's hospital, an asylum basically, and they are mad. They are completely mad. And Neville grew up with his grandmother. But the thing is that Voldemort, for some reason, I think it had to do with the Longbottoms are a pureblood family. Neville is a pureblood, even though he is not the greatest wizard, but Voldemort and his lovely Nazi thinking of keeping the genes clean and everything, even though he himself is a half-blood, because as I just said, his dad was a muggle, he didn't go after the pureblood. He went after the half-blood, like he himself is, which is Harry, because Lily was a muggle. James was a wizard, Lily was a muggle. And
Really?
yeah.
But when did Snape fall in love with Lily? Wasn't that at Hogwarts?
No, that was before. They grew up in the same area.
Oh, yeah, sorry. It's
Snape
all a bit
lived
hazy.
close to where I don't think her maiden name is ever revealed, but Evans.
Lily Evans?
I think it's Evans.
I mean, it's a very powerful thing to, give her the trope of, a mother's love
Protects you from death.
Exactly.
Yeah. And Snape falls in love with her when they were children. So Voldemort goes for Harry and thus fulfills the prophecy that was supposed to bring him down. And basically Voldemort turns Harry into the Chosen One, which I find a very interesting trope, because quite often you have the idea that the Chosen One is a genetic thing. Or, I don't know, the stars aligned at birth. Or something like that. And it's some predestined, huge, cosmic event, sort of. But in Harry Potter, it's the classic... Yeah, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy trope, very classic one as well, mixed with the Chosen One trope. And that's what I quite like about Harry Potter. That's what I meant in the beginning of this rant that I apologize for, which is why I think it works quite seamlessly in terms of the build-up, and which is why in this specific case I do not mind the trope, also because it was my first contact with the trope in of itself, because Harry Potter is my first franchise that I really got into. I saw first film when I was 5 or 6.
Mm-hmm.
It was the third one, but that was the first one I saw.
Azkaban, good one.
Yeah, and I started reading the books when I was in 1st or 2nd grade.
Mm-hmm.
So that was definitely...
I mean, okay, there's a lot of good ways, and I think we're mostly going to talk about very good examples on how to put an interesting twist on a Chosen One narrative. Like, for example, when I grew up, I was a big fan of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. First started out with a movie, and then they turned it into a TV show, which I think to this day is continued as a graphic novel. So, because, at some point the show was cancelled, created by Joss Whedon.
Ran for ages, though, as well.
Well, not really. I think it was seven seasons or
Okay,
something.
but it had a huge pop culture influence,
Yeah, I mean, a lot
in
of,
those circles.
a lot of the things that Joss Whedon does is critically well acclaimed. I mean, Joss Whedon's very problematic in and of himself.
Yeah, but
like Firefly was also critically acclaimed and was cancelled after I think 2 or 3
one
seasons.
season actually.
Oh,
There's
really?
one season.
And then
of
they made a
Firefly.
movie, Firefly.
Think
didn't
so,
they?
yeah.
No, Serenity. Firefly was the show.
Yes,
and then Serenity was the movie.
Yeah.
I've still to watch that. But with Buffy, it also never really bothered me because, you know, Buffy, not unlike Aang from The Last Airbender, for example, you know, like, it's a lineage.
Yeah.
She becomes aware that something's up with her because she keeps having dreams of past lives of her being, or, you know, like other Slayers, basically, which she can't make heads or tails of until she meets her first Watcher, Merrick, I think played by Donald Sutherland in the movie. And the head honcho vampire in that movie is Rutger fucking Hauer.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then basically later you've got in the show, you've got Anthony Stewart Head as Giles, love him. And so basically, you know, like you've got Slayers. I think sometimes you've got more than one, but, you know, like she basically appears in the area where she's needed.
Mm-hmm.
And what's also very interesting, yes, she's got certain powers, but, you know, like more often than not, or, you know, like in many instances, we see the Slayers actually being slain. For example, by the Master, which is the villain, I think, of the first season of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and I think in the second one they try to resurrect him. Which is very interesting because, you know, first of all, in terms of we have a female chosen one,
Yes.
so to speak. And I think it says so in the intro, she's the chosen one. She alone will stand against the darkness and everything. It was also very interesting, had a good sense of humour and everything. And when she eventually dies in the show and later she gets resurrected, but it says on her gravestone, it says she saved the world a lot.
Bless.
You know? Like, this is really cool. And, you know, what's really likable, or, you know, like what makes it interesting if you do it so well, or, you know, like what makes it a bit more identifiable is that a lot of those chosen one characters they're not really keen on being the chosen one.
None of that I can think of.
Buffy constantly struggles with it.
Aang
Harry
hates
isn't
it.
exactly happy about this.
No.
Aang
comes to terms with it, but initially he hates it.
Absolutely.
Because pacifist and all that.
Anakin Skywalker is 9, and he sort of just has to deal with it. And, you know, like, I mean, that would do things to a 9-year-old, obviously.
Of course it would.
And you have all those things. But then again, you've got, for example, the franchise we're talking about, I know the least about, Neo. In The Matrix.
I also know surprisingly little about The Matrix.
So this is where the casual parts come in. Because, you know, like...
It's been ages since I've seen the films. Ages.
Exactly. So I read up a bit about him, you know, like before we started. First of all, Neo...
The one. Yeah.
Exactly, he's the one. And so there's always been a one because, you know, like at a certain point, you know, like humans from Zion, which is outside of the Matrix, rise up against the machine overlords. There's always the chosen one who eventually ends up making a choice, going back to the source, basically rebooting the Matrix.
Red or blue pill, no?
No, red or blue pill is for him.
Oh, to leave the Matrix or not. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
But then later, that's the architect scene in The Matrix Reloaded.
Yes.
Where it's like, okay, I have a choice. You go back to the source, which all the other chosen ones did, because he's supposed to form an attachment with humanity. And the architect normally shows them, okay, humans can't win against the machine overlords. Go back to the source, reboot it, be blissfully unaware. Maybe you'll find a different way this time. But in this iteration of the chosen one, basically, he falls in love with a specific human, which is Trinity.
Right.
So he decides to try and save
names.
Yeah, I know. Well, they're basically user handles, online user handles.
Yeah.
So basically, he chooses to try and save Trinity, and therefore continuing to resist. But the whole thing of, you know, like, the one and everything, and again, all of those examples we had over the course of this episode so far, in and of their own universe, they make sense.
Yeah. To
varying degrees. I still think, as a huge Star Wars fan, you know, it's like, well, we have the prophecy of the chosen one, because of course you do.
Yeah, that's the thing. Of course you do. If you have an epic franchise that you want to have a certain impact, you need the chosen one trope. Because it implies such a, like, reaching... like, the implications are beyond the scope of the characters, and that's what you want.
It's just... I don't want to hear about prophecies anymore.
Yeah.
Just like, we have this ancient prophecy. It's like, good for you. You know, like, I don't care. I think characters can be so much more interesting. I mean, of course, it's always interesting, or, you know, like, it can be interesting to see, okay, what's this character gonna do with the burden of being the chosen one?
Yeah.
In Matrix Reloaded, we see what all his followers do. They have a rave in Zion. And I feel...
Only reasonable thing to do.
And I feel, in terms of, you know, like, the Matrix, and somebody might call me, you know, like, I don't know, not very rebellious or not overly human or whatever, and I'm thinking, like, it's unfair not to say to Neo or anyone leaving the Matrix, like, oh, by the way, Zion looks like shit.
Yeah, agreed. Honestly,
right? It's like, okay, yes, I know I'm being, and I know that they have this sort of theme going on in the first movie where this one guy wants to be plugged back in and wants to be blissfully unaware that he's in the Matrix.
I would be that guy.
Same.
Because honestly, I mean, there is, not to sound conspiracy theory here, but there is sort of theories, mathematical equations of some sort, that there's a certain percentage how likely it is that we are actually living in a Matrix, just based off of how fast technology evolved over the time, computer simulations, yada yada yada, doesn't matter. If we did, I don't care. Honestly, what difference does it make? If I think, there's already no difference there. If I feel right now, if I physically have any sort of reaction to my surroundings, to the people around me, it doesn't matter if it's real or not. It does not matter if, in fact, I am sitting on a chair at a table talking to you right now, or if I'm lying somewhere in a tube thinking I am. Where is the difference?
And that this is the interesting bit for me, because I'm like, the machines use the humans as batteries.
So what? I don't. Does it harm me? I don't know. Exactly. I'll die. In 100 years.
If you think about
in 70 years, but whatever.
If you think about your biology, there's several things right now using you to live, and vice versa. You know, and where I'm like, I'm fine with that.
I don't care. It may be nihilistic, but legitimately, what's the point?
And who
I know there's a philosophical conundrum behind it, whatever, I don't care.
And who tells me that the people leaving the Matrix in Zion now are not in a different simulation? What about that? Because, believe you me, if you explore that universe far enough, there's going to be some doomsday preacher saying, oh, this isn't real either.
Think of Men in Black. Think of the little cat at the end where you're like, you have the Earth and the fucking camera zooms out, and then the Earth gets smaller and smaller, and you zoom out, and then there's the Milky Way, and you zoom out further and further and further.
It's all just a marble.
And then in the end, it's just a marble on the collar of a cat.
No, it's not a marble on the collar of the cat.
Oh no, they're playing, but in one of them, it's the little trinket on the collar of the cat.
Yeah, exactly. But this is the MacGuffin of the movie, and our galaxy, among others, is in a marble that aliens play marbles with.
And what's the issue?
Exactly.
I don't have one.
And that's the whole thing. Exactly. You know, like there's this sort of symbiotic way about this. The machines are using you for energy. I don't see where you have any, you know, like, well, yeah, of course you're being used, but at the same time you get a simulation
that's nicer than the world.
Exactly.
Zion sucks.
In which you can go to fucking Bali.
Yeah.
Go to Bali in Zion. I fucking dare you.
There's dust.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It makes for some cool fighting scenes. Some not so cool.
I'm not ripping into the Matrix, of course not. But
at the same time, you know, I'm always thinking like, okay, the Matrix is being rebooted. Then you've got an oracle telling of the prophecy. Where does she get it from? Is she reading the code? I'm sure that's explained somewhere, but I'm casual about this. I never cared enough about the Matrix.
Neither.
You know, like the first movie is interesting, But to me, that's all it is.
I mean, of course, it's a huge pop culture phenomenon.
I mean, yeah,
But,
it was sort of creating its own style and was copied for ages after.
Yeah.
In terms of visual styles
Bullet
and everything.
time scene and all of that. Everybody knows that.
I'm like, I don't know when last I watched the Matrix, then trilogy.
Sunglasses and leather jackets, or like leather coats. That's what I think of when I think of the Matrix.
Don't care for it.
And Lawrence Fishburne.
Lawrence Fishburne is always great.
I mean,
and Hugo Weaving.
And Keanu Reeves, of course, but I feel like Keanu Reeves has made more waves lately with John Wick than he has with the Matrix. So.
Well, at least with Matrix, what's the last one? Resurrections.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
No one's watched that. Lawrence Fishburne couldn't be bothered to come back for that. So they recast Morpheus.
Which, ouch.
Yeah. But, in terms of, I think the most interesting take on The Chosen One, for me, is still with Dune. Mm-hmm. Because, we're talking a novel that came out in the 60s, right? The original Dune.
Yeah.
Which is basically saying messianic figures aren't good for you. Because it's very interesting, because Paul just doesn't happen to be the chosen one.
He's sort of made into it, no?
Sort of, exactly, because there's the Order of the Bene Gesserit, who try to create the Kwisatz Haderach, who can basically, do what the Bene Gesserit, all women, can do, and so much more, because normally men, in the process of becoming, of doing what the Bene Gesserit do, and then later on also to become the Sayadina, the holy women.
Can we just pause for a second and think about the names and the words you are just saying?
It's fantastic.
The gibberish is beautiful.
To drink, for example, well, fair enough. To become a Sayadina, which is the priestesses and the clairvoyants of the Fremen.
Of course.
The indigenous people of Arrakis.
Certainly.
Normally kills any man.
Right.
It doesn't kill him. And, all of those things, because the Kwisatz Haderach comes, the chosen one, comes from generations and generations of genetic breeding to get closer and closer and closer to the formula. And the fact that the world of Dune is actually aware of a prophecy is because the Bene Gesserit planted it there. Mm-hmm. So this is all very, very carefully planned. Exactly. Yeah. And it's made, it's done, it's also talked about in the movies, the new ones. And you've got people like Stilgar, played by Javier Bardem, who really wants to believe we've got the chosen one here. You've got the people who doubt, obviously, because, some see behind the scene that this was planted here, but it turns out he really is the chosen one.
Right.
And not by sheer coincidence or by divine right, but by breeding, so to speak. And the main message really is, because, he can foresee all possible paths in the future. And basically, he knows the moment he starts walking down the path of the chosen one, he's going to bring unspeakable evil. He's going to bring a holy war, a religious war in his name across countless worlds. And so basically you read the first book, then comes the second one, Dune Messiah. It's much shorter. And it's in style so different because, in Dune, Paul talks about his terrible purpose, which is following down the road of the chosen one. And Dune Messiah brings about his downfall because, billions of beings have perished in his name by the holy war that's spreading from world to world to world.
Yeah, that's a horrible burden to bear.
And I mean, we're talking, this all started when his family was given Arrakis, where, the spice melange, the drug that allows interstellar space travel to happen, comes from. And, his
I love sci-fi.
His father is murdered by the Harkonnens, which is a rivaling faction, but also they're related in some way. It doesn't really matter right now. And over the course, basically, of avenging his father, he brings unspeakable evil over the galaxy. So, the overall message is with Paul, you don't really have a hero. Because he loses everything at a certain point. He gets everything his prophecy told him he might get. But he loses everything. And the one message is, this is why Paul is not a hero so much. Yes, he achieves what he sets out to do. But it is absolutely clear in Frank Herbert's writing, that a messianic figure is nothing good.
Yeah. Agreed.
And it makes it abundant. I mean, I really enjoyed those the two movies made by Denis Villeneuve. I
Still haven't seen them. Can't
watched
comment on
them.
them.
I enjoyed them greatly. I thought the second one was even better than the first.
Fair enough.
I think a lot of people can agree on that. There was this TV adaptation from the early 2000s. I have that on Blu-ray as well. I think it stars. Well, I only remember William Hurt
Okay.
as Jared. Not Jared. As Leto Atreides, Paul's father, Jared Leto. I always feel like Jared.
Wire there.
And they actually made an adaptation of 2 books further down the line: June Messiah, and then Children of June. Or I think it might even be 1 book later. It doesn't matter. With James McAvoy as the son of Paul Atreides, who later gets worm skin, which basically turns him. Well, if you read the books, into a sandworm. When it opens its mouth, it's basically a human face in there, and I think 2 arms.
That's terrifying.
It's absolutely
but
terrifying.
But it's James McAvoy, so it's also kind of hot.
It's always kind of hot.
Kind of hot. James McAvoy is just
kind of hot. But yeah, this is for me the most interesting type of, or representation of the chosen one, because in my opinion, no chosen one's ever been nothing but a tragic figure, if not a tragic figure, because you don't become a chosen one without losing a lot of shit.
Right.
Anakin had to leave behind the only family he's ever had, his mother. Then basically he loses his wife in an attempt to save her. He turns to the dark side, basically loses a lot of his humanity, has a redemption arc and everything.
Fair amount, yeah.
But I always thought it very interesting because normally you've got someone really falling to something which we might call the dark side, and basically committing genocide, blowing up a planet or 2, and it's like
killing a couple children, yeah.
Come back to the light side. I don't think you come back from that.
You don't know.
Because there exists this, or there used to exist this comic book alternate timeline in Star Wars called Star Wars Infinities. And they did an alternate take on Return of the Jedi.
Right.
Where Vader actually turns back to the light side. The Emperor escapes, and then Vader all of a sudden has a white armor and then helps pursue the Emperor, where I'm just like, no, mate, you'll have to answer for quite some crimes.
At least give him a grey armor and then be like, making amends is not necessarily possible, but you can try.
But we can at least agree on one thing. It sucks to be the chosen one.
Yeah.
It really does.
For sure.
Because it's not like, you're the chosen one. Neat. You
Fuck. So everything bad that could happen is gonna happen to me. That's cool.
Can you imagine? You're part of the family of the chosen one, and somebody tells me, yeah, by the way, your son is the chosen one. I'm like, fuck. I'm probably gonna die. Because, just think of one chosen one with a happy family life.
Yeah, I'm really trying right now. I can't think of one.
No, Buffy's mum, she dies of an aneurysm. That's not exactly, part of a prophecy, but, her parents are divorced anyway, but
their chosen family usually is fine, eventually.
Yeah.
But the actual family or the people in their life that matter prior to the revelation of them being the chosen one, they're dead. They're dead.
Well, I mean, it's like which really fucked me up because the first thing Harry Potter I ever really came in contact with Order of the Phoenix, the movie. So I'm like, Gary Oldman is in this. Gary fucking Oldman. You guys missed just before the episode started. I did my Gary Oldman walk unbeknownst to me. We were talking about the guy, and I did a walk, and apparently that's the Gary Oldman walk. We always talk about the guy.
It's
Gary fucking
Gary
Oldman.
Oldman comes up at least 3 times a week.
Yes, and he should. But exactly, you've got Sirius Black, and then you read the books, and I think the third one ends with the line, "I have an uncle," or a godfather, or something like this.
Yeah.
And then
not only that, but Sirius offers Harry that he could move out of Privet Drive and live with him, and which of course Harry couldn't because the love spell doesn't.
What really fucked me up is when Sirius died in the movie. That's one thing, because then I read the books. And of course, when I read about Sirius Black, it was now for me the face of Gary Oldman.
Of course.
And then Sirius didn't have to die if Harry had unwrapped his fucking presents of this two-way magic mirror sort of thing. Because, like he sees this, he has this dream that's implanted in him, about Sirius being tortured. And if you just check the mirrors, like, yo, by the way, Sirius, are you okay? You're being tortured right now, mate. He's like, no, I'm fine. Okay, cool. I don't have to do anything stupid. Book over.
But it's also on Dumbledore. Because if Dumbledore...
Everything's on fucking Dumbledore.
I mean, Dumbledore... It made sense that he was trying to not give anything away because of the occlumency part where Voldemort could use Harry to spy on Dumbledore. But, mate, Harry is 15 in that book. Just a little parental guidance could have... And latest when he is standing sweating and throwing up in your office because he thinks that his only family figure that didn't physically and emotionally abuse him throughout his entire life is being tortured and probably killed by the murder of his parents, maybe just send him back to bed and check it out yourself.
Right?
It's just a thing.
I mean, you're notably the only wizard...
Or take him with you, but, have him... keep him in the car.
Well, yeah...
Just tell him you can come, but you're gonna wait in the car.
You're the only wizard, notably so, that Voldemort was ever afraid of.
Yeah.
And, it's like, just go in there. I mean, yeah, when he finally arrives, it's a kick-ass scene in the movie.
It's
because,
a fantastic fight scene, it's great.
Because Voldemort has a hell of a time defending against Dumbledore. It's cool how the man walks in there like a one-man SWAT team.
Yeah.
But the thing is, timing,
Bit late, mate. Bit late.
Timing. It's like... Well done, you, and always being so fucking cryptic. For anyone who doesn't want to die a horrible death, keep out of the West Wing, East Wing, whatever wing.
Third floor.
Floor, fine, same thing.
Yeah.
But and it's like, I open at the end and everything, and all those things. Was like, mate, I mean, yeah, it doesn't make for very interesting reading. I understand this, but at the same time, it's like, you're just fucking with a kid, aren't you?
Yeah, he is. He is, but I will say, say about the fact that there was a stage play now, what you will. I've seen it twice, once in English, once in German. I've also read it, obviously. And there is a reconciliation moment between Harry and Dumbledore.
I don't care, I haven't seen that.
It's because, Dumbledore's portrait exists, so Harry can speak to the portrait.
Oh, right.
And Dumbledore actually tells Harry that he did always love him like a son, and Harry accuses, or at least says to Dumbledore that he was like a father and he could have used some more parental guidance at some point.
Yeah, but
and when I read that for the first time, I did cry because that was all we. Let's be real. Everybody who read Harry Potter always just wanted to hear Dumbledore tell Harry, "I love you, are my son," because that's just what.
Yeah,
that
okay,
is
but
what's
this
happening.
brings up a different question: how much of the actual consciousness of the deceased person is in that fucking painting? Because, I remember the death of Dumbledore, and then there was this painting and Dumbledore was snoring away in it.
Yeah, because it would have been not emotionally impactful enough.
How much of that consciousness is in there?
It's made from memories of other people and the decarium thing, whatever memories are left of the person and people who knew them all put together, smushed in the paint. So of course it's not the actual person, but it's a biopic come to life,
Okay, wonderful.
Sort of.
I mean,
it's a biography come to life, sort of.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
But
yeah.
In Dumbledore's defense, just real quick, not that you can't really defend Dumbledore, but my favorite quote from any book of all time stems from Dumbledore from the Deathly Hallows. Because Harry, at the end of the dream-like sequence after he got killed, and when he is sitting in the King's Cross rendition of the not afterlife,
the
but
limbo.
the limbo basically, and Dumbledore visits him there and they have a chat. Harry then, as Dumbledore's already leaving, is like, "Professor, can I just ask you one more question? Was any of this real, or was it just in my head?" And then Dumbledore answers, "Of course it was all in your head, Harry. But why on earth would that mean that it isn't real?" That is my favorite quote of all time, and you will not rip into that.
Well, it's, in and of itself, very problematic. because the moment you have this, like it's in your head, why doesn't that make it any more real? Let's picture this for a second. I know my neighbor, she loves me, and it's all in my head, but why does that make it any less, like, real?
It justifies every single fantasy world both of us ever escaped into, so you leave it alone.
It really doesn't.
It really does.
And I'm glad I didn't act on several of them.
Well, that's a reflection on you.
Yeah, absolutely. I never said there wasn't, like...
No, I love that quote. I love that quote because it resonated with how old was I? I read it in 6th grade, so 12-year-old me. 11-year-old me. It resonated on such a level because I was like, I wish.
But I think it's also absolutely paramount that as a chosen person, you're supposed to be surrounded by fucking idiots. Because, like... There's also, even though George Lucas made it absolutely clear, Anakin is the chosen one, still his legacy continues with Luke, so to speak, because, like Luke has to turn his father back to the light, and then, like he goes confronting Ben after, the events of Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. Yo, by the way, why didn't you tell me Vader was my father?
Yeah.
Well, I told you, so I told you the truth from a certain perspective. Well, it's just like...
What a Dumbledore answer.
Yeah, right? Fuck you! From a certain perspective. And, and the thing is, like something I never quite understood, and it becomes clear as a kid I didn't understand it. In Empire, when Luke leaves to confront Vader in Cloud City, and Ben and Yoda are talking, Ben is like, this boy is our last hope. And then Yoda's like, no, there's another. And then, like, which is, like, true, because Leia exists. She's his twin sister. But at the same time, it's like, well, let him go. If he perishes, we might, we might have more luck with a woman.
It's cool.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Which is a bit of a throwaway sentence, because it literally happens after Yoda is put in the dark after the ship disappears. And, sorry, I had a fizzy drink, and now I'm... sort of burping.
That is a theme that just keeps popping up.
Right, I know I shouldn't drink things like this
and
while
yet,
we record.
Does that make me the chosen one? Are you the idiot around me?
Excuse me. That is so very obviously true. But yeah, it's like I feel cataclysmic events overall in epics are always capable due to the stupidity of whoever was keeping the balance at this point. Like before they rebooted or rebooted the Star Wars universe, Jedi genocide happened as often as the Olympics.
Jesus Christ!
Like seriously, you play any of the Knights of the Old Republic games, basically.
Order 66 all round?
No, by a different name. But if the Jedi basically wipes out again, you're the only hope to the galaxy. It's like...
Again?
Oh, that's a good idea. Well, I've never heard that one before.
How did they reciprocate so quickly again?
Exactly. And for example, something I found out after reading one of those encyclopedias, when the Jedi in episode 1, 2, and 3 talk about that they're, that they couldn't sense the upcoming threat of the Sith, because their temple on Coruscant is built on a holy mountain. In that mountain is a Sith crypt, apparently. And that Sith crypt is so strong with the dark side, apparently, that it affected, unless I'm getting something completely wrong, there's several people screaming at their phone right now.
Oh, same with Harry Potter, maybe.
But
who knows?
This affected them so strongly in their use of the dark side, of the light side of the Force, that they couldn't sense the threat of the Sith. Which is very interesting for lots of reasons, because first of all, you built your fucking sacred grounds on something where it's just like, somebody must have sensed something.
That seems.
It's like, maybe we shouldn't build here. I know you like this mountain, but I feel
it'll be fine.
And at the same time, I wonder, the moment you leave the fucking temple, walk around the blocks like, oh, by the way, I think we're being taken over by the Sith.
No, goes back in. No, it's fine. It's cool.
That was just,
Sith? No, wait, no, it's fine.
You know what I mean? It's just like the evil always takes over because the good. are behaving like morons. In Harry Potter, it's the same. There's nothing out there. It's like, and there's so many things, speaking to the opposite.
But that is political propaganda of a coward.
Fair enough, but
Fudge is a coward. He's also called Fudge, so...
No. I'm specifically speaking about Umbridge right now, because I'm thinking more about the movies right now.
Umbridge is sadistic, though.
But is she turncoat? I think she works. She still works at the Ministry after.
Yeah, she works under Fudge, Cornelius Fudge.
But after the Death Eaters have taken over, she still works there.
Yeah. I mean, she's inherently sadistic in nature. So everything that's wrong with the world in a person. So of course she would like Voldemort, or like, is it? I mean, it is Voldemort's ministry, but under a straw man prime minister of magic, whose name I forget, but she works under 3 ministers in total. There's Cornelius Fudge, there's Rufus Scrimgeour, and there's Voldemort, basically. And she is worse than Voldemort.
Wow.
Well, in a way, because she doesn't have any redeeming quality. Like, Voldemort has the excuse, in quotation marks, of not being able to feel love, and also having grown up in an abusive household, physically abused, other implications, and then thrown into a foster home. Umbridge, I mean, we never get a backstory, to be fair, but Umbridge tortures children for fun.
That's fun.
Voldemort, at least, is just a racist.
In a way, yes.
I mean, he's Hitler. Like
magic Hitler.
He's magic Hitler. The Death Eaters are the Nazis. It's very, very clear, very easy to see where J.K. Rowling got her inspiration from. It's always fun to realize that as a 12-year-old, and then you realize the German education system is so Nazi-focused that a 12-year-old will make the leaps there. But
Nazi-focused in terms of like, trying to make you
aware of history and keeping history from repeating itself. Very important note there. But yeah. Umbridge is worse than Voldemort.
I mean, in terms of, like, having teams surround you that are genuinely, like, not terrible. I'm thinking of Buffy, because, of course, you've got her Watcher, which is Giles. And, of course, like, he had his training as a Watcher. That means he trains her in certain combat styles, with weapons.
Doesn't Angel also eventually team up with him?
I'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
Like, makes her aware of mythology, like, he looks at the demons she's fighting and everything. And, I mean, even Giles as a Watcher, and he's trained in all of this, her team around her is finding things out along with her.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, normally they're of the same age, sort of, like, with Xander, with Willow, and that's pretty cool, because, like, she's got peers. It's a bit like with Harry Potter. Or, like...
You have the what's the word? Like, there's a name for the trope. You just have the fun, friendly...
No, you've got the party. You've
got
the party,
sort of,
so to speak. But, like, of course, there is instances where, like, I think the Council of the Watchers takes... with the knowledge of Giles, takes away her powers.
Mm-hmm.
So she has to overcome a threat with her own... devices, so to speak.
Yeah, without relying on
which makes absolutely no sense. Yes, it makes you more aware, but like, you have those powers, just fucking use them. Like, don't always rely on them, sure, but like, overall, these, I think, moments, as far as I remember the series, are few and far between, because most of the times, yes, things happen where Giles says, "Oh, I previously overlooked this," or stuff like this, which is fair, because the man's working from a library, in the 90s, early 2000s, like, there's an episode about everybody in the school using the internet for the first time, like, something that's very hard to imagine. Buffy's old. But I feel like when you look around someone like Harry Potter, with those Dumbledore moments, where it's like, mate, are you fucking serious? When you look at the fall of the Old Republic to the Sith, it's just like, there's thousands of Jedi, where they say, like, well, we used to be more. It's like, yes, you're still thousands of Jedi. And then you've got, like, I mean, yes, in episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, you're trying to make Palpatine look powerful. But there's 4 members of the Jedi Council going to arrest the Chancellor.
They could have, if they would have tried.
And you've got fairly prominent names in there, like Zazetin and Kid Fisto. Very unfortunate.
I was not gonna say it, but yeah, that's...
Yeah, and there's a fourth one I don't remember, and of course there's Mace Windu, who holds out the longest and would have defeated Palpatine because he's the mighty Jedi.
Mighty Jedi.
And then, I'm just thinking, this is one way of making the Jedi look like fucking wimps.
Yeah, that's always the issue. Like, if you... Power scaling is something that doesn't work well with the trope of the Chosen One. Because if you have established a certain power scaling range, you will always have to topple that in order to favor the Chosen One. Because the Chosen One can only be the Chosen One if he's not the most powerful. Because if he was the most powerful, it wouldn't matter that he is the Chosen One, because he's on the top of the food chain anyway. So it needs to be someone on the mid-range of any sort of power scaling that then, through whatever trope the Chosen One inherits in this particular franchise, then eventually manages to defeat all odds and make it happen, which then in turn overrules the power scaling.
Exactly. Sort of, they work their way up.
Yeah.
In a way, because exactly that, you can't do that. Neo has to learn all the things he has to learn. Luke, in terms of his Jedi abilities, is not all that great.
Yeah.
But he can appeal to his father's humanity, like Invader. So basically, in the end, it's not Luke who defeats the Emperor, it's Vader.
One Piece does a very interesting thing there, and I will say major spoilers now here, because ongoing series, and major spoilers, I'm serious. But, I mean, obviously One Piece as a very classic hero story in a way, still ongoing. I mean, of course, Luffy is the main character, also is the Chosen One. He has to be, because how else are you gonna make a story last this long? How else are you gonna make a hero's journey last this long? But his Chosen One tropes keep changing. So initially he was just this boy who got lucky, sort of, a lot. Or at least it seemed like it. And he had this unwavering faith. And unwavering belief in that everything will be fine. He had a lot of charisma that made people like him, and he drew in the right people that would help him, because anime quite often, especially like shonen, adventure story type, quite often lives off of the fact that you can't do it alone, you need your friends to help you along the way. All fine, all good, great moral storytelling. The power scaling in One Piece was always quite simple. You have devil fruits. Devil fruits give you superhuman powers. And then you can't swim anymore. Then, very simply put, there's 3 different types of devil fruits, in which, they are categorized as Logia fruits, that give you sort of nature element-based powers, like sand, fire, light, lightning, anything like that. They are the most powerful devil fruit, because they make you sort of physically untouchable. Because how are you gonna punch lightning? How are you gonna punch fire? So we encounter those quite early on in the story, and then we need some clever way to fight them. So there's this one antagonist called Crocodile who is a sand person, and then Luffy needs to figure out how to fight against sand, because he can't just punch him like he usually does. So water works, because sand coming into contact with water gets a bit harder, physically harder. So when he's some water on his fist or something, he then can physically connect. Stuff like that. Then you have zoan fruits, which are animal-based fruits, which turn you into half human, half animal, with 3 different transformation types. You have the whole animal form, the whole human form, and a hybrid form, through which they can just switch like they want to. Otherwise, zoans are pretty straightforward. They don't, other than the trope of the animal sort of is printed onto you a little bit. Carnivores will make you a bit more aggressive, stuff like that. And everything else of theirs in abundant amount, because the author is very creative in that term, is called paramecia. Any sort of supernatural power that doesn't allow you to change your surroundings, basically, is a paramecia food. And that's that. So our main character, Luffy, he ate the gum gum fruit, which turns him into a rubber person. So paramecia user, mid-tier. Very simple. Just a very jolly guy. So far, so good. Obviously, then they sail, adventures, always win, collect friends along the way. All fine, all fine, all fine. He has this mentor figure who is this mysterious... We don't know what kind of big role he plays in the world yet, but for some reason he's like, this boy is important. So that's the chosen one trope that we have. Then, as the story goes on, we introduce another form of power scaling, which some people think Loki broke the series a bit because it's not super consistent, which is called haki, which basically is a way of measuring willpower. And it comes to the point where certain devil fruit powers can be overruled if your willpower is strong enough and you know how to use it. So if you can use your haki correctly, you are able to just physically attack a Logia user, no matter what element it is. And there's also 3 different kinds of haki, doesn't matter except for one, which is called Conqueror's haki. Which, as the name implies, or Emperor's haki, they go through different translations there, which is supposed to be the chosen one haki, quite literally, where you sort of emit a wave of willpower physically through the world that will make anyone less strong in will than you just faint on the spot.
Wow.
Just takes people out. And that is supposed to be the super rare thing that only so few people have, left, right, and center by now. Like, it's established as this huge thing, and then Luffy, like, has it, and by accident displays it, and we're like, oh my god, what was that? And then older, wiser, mentor characters will explain what it is, and then you have the next person who can do it, the next person who can do it, the next person who can do it, because it's always like, oh, Conqueror's haki is just something that someone with the calling to be an emperor has. So by default, it should be very few people. But it has become many, because the chosen one trope, in this case, is not limited anymore necessarily to our main character, but because we are adding so many different layers on top of it, what makes a chosen one in the world of One Piece, it is not necessarily constrained to Luffy anymore, which I think the author noticed, so he introduced a 3rd layer. And this is where the massive spoiler warning comes in now. Mm-hmm. Because it was recently revealed, and by recently I mean 2 or 3 years ago, that Luffy's devil fruit, who we since 1997 thought was the gum gum fruit that turned him into a rubber man, actually is not the gum gum fruit. It is actually a fruit called the Nika Nika fruit, which is it's a zoan. So it's an animal fruit. It's a human based on a sun god. So the idea is that he is actually not just a normal like rubber paramecia user, but he himself has eaten a devil fruit that is based off of a deity.
This
sort
happens.
of. And the fact that he like turned into rubber is his actual power is anything he imagines can happen. Like, his imagination in of itself can become physical, and that is his power. So when he ate the fruit, he was told it was the gum gum fruit, and he's a rubber man, which is what he then thought he was ate when he ate it. So that's why that happened. And now more and more, there's more revealed. But we had to go through stages of him just being your classic sunshine, happy boy who just attracts people through charisma, chosen one, to... oh, he has the super insane strong willpower, stronger than others, chosen one. To, oh, that's not enough anymore, we need to make him a literal god, chosen one. And now he is being called the bringer of the dawn.
Oh.
And the one who will free the world and all of that. The character, like the characterization of Luffy hasn't changed, which I appreciate. He's still your goofy, adventure-seeking, stupid... by now 20-year-old, but the scale around it, like the scale of what he is also entering prophecy level now, because due to the fact that we have now established that he's sort of, if you will, a reincarnation of said god just by eating the fruit, all the stories that different peoples around the world know of Nika are now obviously displayed and projected onto Luffy as a character. And there's also the theory in One Piece where it's like devil fruits, I mean, this is fan theories, we don't know, but like people are thinking that devil fruits may or may not have personalities in of themselves, because there's never the same fruit twice. So if a user dies, the fruit will reappear somewhere, and then someone else can eat it. Because there's never two people with the same power. The first bite you take of the fruit, that's the power. You cannot share it, you cannot split it. And as long as someone alive with that power is on the planet, that fruit isn't there. But the second someone dies, the fruit reappears. So the idea is that maybe there's a sort of reincarnation circle going on with the fruits, with like where the previous owners of the powers may add a little, either add their own personality to the fruit, or that the fruits themselves have personalities that shape the people that eat them, whatever way around. But if that's the case, then Luffy now literally has become a chosen one, because he literally has eaten a devil fruit, is not revealed as a user of a devil fruit of a deity that 800 years ago or something was involved in the world establishment of the world order, how it was established in One Piece. From now, there's like this whole void century where people don't know what happened, and we'll probably all find that out now, and Nico was all involved in that. So after 25 years, the Chosen One trope got mounted to that point where we don't have a prophecy now, but we sort of need one in order to just find a direction with it again. So it's the other way around. It's sort of like, it's not that the prophecy then, or that there wasn't a prophecy that made Chosen One necessary, but there was just this boy who throughout the story was established as the Chosen One, and now we need a prophecy to sort of place it somewhere. Like, it's insane. It's so hard to sum it up quickly. I'm sure guys, it was 25 years of storytelling. I just tried to tell in a concise way in like 15 minutes. Like, that's not that easy, but it's the same trope twisted, like basically the other way around, which I find interesting. But the power scaling is where it got necessary, which I find interesting, because before we established Haki, the willpower thing, there wasn't any, we didn't need to up it again, because if we had just stayed with the original devil fruit better than no devil fruit, certain devil fruit better than other devil fruit, we could have kept it at that, because then we could have just had him in the mid tier, kind of
overcoming odds.
Yeah, but since we had to add the willpower, now suddenly we needed to up the game again, and we needed to turn him into a god.
I mean, if you look at it, I mean, there's a clear distinction between, we could basically talk about the Chosen One with any hero's journey, because, of course, they're doing things that the rest of the population of that specific narrative is not doing, most likely. But at the same time, I think a hero's journey has to be held differently, or, they can be the same thing, but we're talking explicit Chosen One characters, where there's a prophecy involved, where there's certain things where it's just like, he's the Chosen One, she's the Chosen One, doesn't matter. But at the same time, in a way, I didn't always, find them very identifiable. You know what I mean? Because for the most part, the Chosen Ones, Luffy might be an exception to that, aren't, in my opinion, all that interesting.
No.
Because, I think mostly what makes them so prolific is the world they're set in. For example, the Star Wars universe. Harry Potter is in and of itself an interesting universe. The characters surrounding Harry Potter I find much more interesting than Harry himself. Even though Harry,
I think Harry gets a pass because he doesn't, he doesn't know for a long time that he is the Chosen One, so he doesn't behave in that way.
But Neo, for example, Neo isn't a very interesting character, at least not in my opinion. And this is me being very casual about the franchise, because I don't watch it all that much.
As we've established.
But at the same time, for example, they can be power fantasies, especially, you know, like when they become aware and they grow stronger and stronger and stronger. But also, you know, like in many, many cases, you've got chosen ones like Neo becomes insanely powerful.
Yeah.
Sure. At the same time, you've got people like Harry Potter. They don't exactly become very powerful.
He doesn't really grow in skill.
No, but
since he was 14.
They learn the ins and outs of their specific prophecy.
Yeah.
So they can wield it, like in the final confrontation.
Yeah. And they sort of they take
Voldemort.
responsibility. Isn't that it? That's the main thing. They accept their fate eventually, and then they go through with it.
Something I find much more identifiable or much more interesting also is, you know, like someone, well, who never asked for this, most chosen ones never asked for it, but, you know, like,
weird.
They're at the, well, you know, like this wasn't, well, you know, like now we're getting philosophical, but, you know, like they're in the wrong place at the wrong time. And I'm specifically thinking, for example, right now of Alan Ripley of the Alien franchise.
Right.
Because, you know, like they're on board of a freighter, star freighter, you know, like they get a distress signal, they go down to a planet, the facehugger latches onto, you know, like John Hurt's face, you know, like, and the alien runs around the ship. And she survives against all odds. Not because she's a fucking badass, but because, you know, like, she just, you know, happens to survive. She's clever. She knows her ship. All of that. Which makes her journey much more interesting because, you know, like, at any point in time, she's not up to snuff with the alien. Same could be said, well, not necessarily for Luke when he's facing Vader, because he defeats Vader in the end, you know, like.
But the first interaction that they have, the losing of the hand, you know, all of that. I mean, we all know the classic no.
And again, Luke isn't the chosen one, so to speak, but you know, like we're talking.
I am
in the end, there's sacrifice involved with a lot of the chosen ones. Like, for example, Neo allowing Smith to apparently assimilate him in order, you know, like for the Machine Lord or whatever he's called.
Harry letting Voldemort kill him.
Exactly. But, you know, like, then you've got Aliens, the sequel to Alien, where, you know, like, again, she's incredibly underpowered, but she doesn't underestimate the aliens.
Isn't that the mecha suit at the end?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And we get a bit of a power fantasy where she's still fighting the alien in that mecha suit, but you can also see it's a life and death situation.
Yeah.
She's doing it for the little girl, to save the little girl. And, you know, that makes it so much more interesting because at the same time, we can connect to something. We're not chosen ones, I feel. Don't get me wrong. Chosen people can be very charismatic or in over their head with the whole prophecy thing, and they don't know what to do with it. Harry has this as many throughout the entire
Every
series.
book he's like, what the fuck is happening?
Exactly, but, you know, like...
Can I just have a normal school year? I have exams.
Like, in Alien, there's this primal fear of this alien, you know, something that can kill you instantly.
An apex predator.
Absolutely.
That we are facing.
And, you know, like, this is something we instantly can connect with.
Yeah.
We don't know what it is. She doesn't know what it is.
And we're like,
And, like, it's I don't know, there's... It doesn't take away from it that there's nothing like, Ripley, at a certain point you'll face a creature from beyond the stars and everything, and you'll be the only one who can defeat it, sort of. But, you know, this is... Again, I think... most instances of what we talked about today, the trope is overused, certainly. But in a way, I feel like as much as we don't like the trope, still those franchises sort of, at least for me, in a way, manage to shift it.
I was gonna say it's funny because we say we don't like the trope, but we haven't really said anything negative about it. Not that much anyway, because
exactly.
Embedded in the right context, it's familiar.
Again, with Anakin, the dark twist. With Harry Potter, he's in over his head. He's not more powerful than Voldemort, not by a long shot.
Teenager, man. Like...
And, you know, like, Neo, in my opinion, still the least interesting, but he still has, you know, like, he's doing something different than all the other chosen ones, which is, I think, basically him well before him. But at the same time, you know, like, these are, I think, even though they have their eye-rolling moments, probably the better examples. And I know what we said going in, but, you know, like, the chosen one also is used in so many, or, you know, like, the prophecy, the chosen one, all of that, is used in so many instances for lazy writing.
Of course.
You've got this, like, as we are told of a great warrior coming, to help us. And it's just like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Again.
Come
on.
Can't the guy just be there and fight alongside and just be very good at it?
Yeah.
Why do we have...
Even give me a training montage. It's cool. Show me how he gets good.
Training montage. I like that because it shows all the cool things about training without the actual fucking hardship.
Yep.
There's a kick-ass song usually involved with it.
Yeah.
And then you hit the gym yourself, fully motivated, and you realize that shit is hard.
Yeah, and then you stop running up and down the stairs like Rocky does. But yeah.
I never felt the need to run up any stairs, but I've never been to Philadelphia either. So.
That's fair. I mean, with Eye of the Tiger playing, what you gonna do?
Exactly. Well, no.
Yeah.
Nah. Eye of the Tiger is the third Rocky. In the first one, it's Gonna Fly Now with the stairs.
Are you certain?
I'm abso-fucking-lutely certain. Rocky 3 is Eye of the Tiger. First one's Gonna Fly Now.
Doesn't he also run up and down the stairs in the third one?
I don't know.
I think there is a scene where Eye of the Tiger's playing and he's running up and down the stairs.
I don't give a flying fuck. It's been ages since I watched this.
Memorial? Yeah, something like that.
It's not the Lincoln Memorial. That's not in Philadelphia. That's in Washington.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, first of all, the iconic running up the stairs scene is in, I think, Philadelphia, if I got this wrong now. But the thing is, there's a statue of Rocky Balboa there these days.
Right.
So the iconic scene is from the first movie. Let's just be very clear about this.
Okay.
But yeah, I had something for closing this. I forgot about this because of your heinous statement of first of all, Rocky won with Eye of the Tiger and then taking place in Washington. Like what the fuck?
Watch me Google it. I'm being right.
Yeah, okay, Google it right now. I want them to know.
Fine.
If I'm wrong now, I'm editing this out.
I was gonna say, it's not like I have any fucking agency here whatsoever. Rocky, Eye of the Tiger.
Third installment.
Eye of the Tiger.
Third installment.
Scene. Hold on. Training. Rocky training, Eye of the Tiger.
Don't you dare start a YouTube video now.
No, but I'm just saying that's the title.
Yeah, of course. He's not training the first or second movie, he's just winging it.
It is Rocky 3.
No,
you are correct.
I do know that.
And now I'm gonna Google which stairs he's running up and down.
Yes, please do. I'm gonna be right about that too.
I didn't debate the third of first Rocky, I want to say. I'm just saying Eye of the Tiger and stairs is a Rocky combination.
I mean, it's an iconic scene. It's been done to death.
Yeah.
Everybody who goes to Philadelphia runs up those fucking stairs.
Fine.
Nah?
You're maybe not wrong.
Yeah.
Because it's the Philadelphia Museum of Art.
Thank you so much.
Fine.
Mm-hmm.
Fine, but does that feature Eye of the Tiger?
No,
is
it
now
doesn't.
My question. Is it? It doesn't say. I want to know. What song does Rocky run up the stairs to?
Gonna Fly Now. Love it.
And on that note, we're gonna end the episode now.
Well, maybe with a little outro. I mean, it's not surprising that writing comes back to a chosen figure in some way because we had it throughout history. The ancient Egyptians had it. Jesus. And it wasn't even. It wasn't. No. It wasn't even uncommon at this point for sons or children of gods or gods themselves. Zeus. Well, he had
self-fulfilling prophecy from Kronos.
Absolutely, and also in there was an Egyptian god who was born, from a virgin mother. Don't quote me on that now, but I do remember that Jesus wasn't the first one to come up with the idea. And
also, probably mistranslation on that one, but
you have Arthur Pendragon in here. What's it called?
Round Table.
The Round Table, the Holy Grail mythology, and all that. So it's it's a trope that's as old as time, basically. But if it's done well or with an interesting twist, I think it can work because we started out with a negative on this, and
we talked mainly positive.
I still stand by this. I still stand by this, but there's many bad examples which I don't have at the moment. But lazy writing is always good when you have a chosen one. It's not good, but it's always easy to have lazy writing if you bring the trope of the chosen one. But let's also be real.
We are very familiar with the trope, and if we want to watch something when we don't have to think or engage with a lot, but just let it sort of trickle down our bodies as our eyes are looking at the screen. Yes, I said that, and I will not take it back. The chosen one trope works.
Fine. We'll close with that. Guys, thank you so very much for listening. We'll see you all at the next episode of Hopelessly Casual. Say goodbye, Freya.
Yes, bye-bye for now.
Have a good evening. Bye-bye.